All right, let's dive into one of the most incredible, complex, and just absolutely vital substances on the planet, the blood that's flowing through your veins as we speak.
Okay, to kick things off, let's just try to wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this system. If you could somehow take all of your blood vessels, and I mean all of them, the big arteries, the veins, down to the tiniest little capillaries, and lay them out in one long line, that line would circle the entire Earth more than twice. It's just mind-boggling, and your blood is traveling that network right now.
So how much of this river of life are we talking about? Well, for an average man, it's about 12 pints. That makes up somewhere around 7 to 8% of your total body weight. It's a pretty significant part of what makes you, well, you.
But what is this stuff really? Let's break down this microscopic world that's keeping you alive and check out the critical jobs it's doing every single second without you ever having to think about it.
You know, the best way to think about your blood isn't as just some liquid. It's way more like a highly organized, super efficient task force. It's on patrol constantly, carrying out 3 critical missions that are absolutely essential for your survival.
So those 3 big jobs are transport, defense, and repair. And what's really cool is how these missions are carried out by a specialized team of 4 main components, all working together in this one amazing fluid.
All right, so it's time to meet the crew. Every single drop of your blood is packed with these 4 main players, and each one has a very specific, very important role.
And you can see right away the team's makeup is dominated by 2 things. You've got plasma, which is the liquid that everything else floats in. That's most of it. Then you have the red blood cells. They're the workhorses, taking up almost all of the rest. And that tiny little 1%? Well, that's your defense and repair crew. They might be small in number, but trust me, they are incredibly powerful.
So first up, let's talk about the most common cell type in your blood by far, the red blood cells. These are your tireless oxygen couriers, making millions upon millions of deliveries every single second.
And I mean, these cells are the definition of specialized. They don't have a long to-do list. Nope, they have one job, and their entire design is perfectly optimized to do it flawlessly.
Now, this is where it gets really cool. Unlike pretty much every other cell in your body, a mature red blood cell has no nucleus. It literally kicks it out to make more room. This frees up space for more oxygen-carrying proteins and, get this, it makes the cell soft and flexible, so it can squish its way through the tiniest blood vessels in your body.
But there's a trade-off, right? Without a nucleus, the cell's command center, it can't repair itself or make copies. So its mission is basically a one-way trip that lasts about 120 days. After that, it gets worn out and the body recycles it.
Okay, so we've covered the oxygen delivery guys. Next up in our task force, let's turn to the body's dedicated security forces and its emergency response units.
Now, even though they're only a tiny fraction of your blood, white blood cells are the hardcore soldiers of your immune system. Think of them as being on constant patrol, always on the lookout for invaders like bacteria and viruses.
And they have this brilliant 2-pronged attack strategy. You've got T cells, which are like the special forces. They go in and engage in direct hand-to-hand combat with infected cells. At the same time, you've got B cells. They're like the weapons factories back at base, churning out these highly specific weapons called antibodies that not only fight the bad guys now, but also create a memory so your body can crush that same invader way faster next time.
So what happens when a blood vessel gets damaged? You get a paper cut or something. An alarm goes out, and that call goes to the emergency repair crew, the platelets. And these guys aren't even really full cells. They're more like little cell fragments.
The whole thing happens in this amazingly fast chain reaction. First, the platelets rush to the scene and form a quick, temporary plug. But that's just step 1. The real magic is when this protein called fibrinogen gets converted into sticky threads of fibrin, which then forms this strong net, trapping everything and sealing the leak for good. It's a beautifully engineered system.
Okay, so we've got oxygen couriers, we've got soldiers, we've got repair crews, but how do they all get around? I mean, they're not just floating in empty space, right? They all need a road to travel on.
And that road is plasma. It's the liquid superhighway of the body. Plasma is what makes everything else possible. It's mostly water, and it carries not just all the blood cells, but also all the cargo they need, like nutrients, and it carries away all the waste products.
And dissolved in that plasma are these unsung heroes, these proteins. Albumin is crucial for keeping the right amount of pressure so your blood vessels don't leak. Globulins include those antibody weapons we talked about. And fibrinogen, well, that's the key ingredient for that life-saving clotting net.
But think about it.
With millions of cells dying off and being used every single second, this whole task force needs constant backup, right? So that begs the question, where do all these incredibly different cells even come from?
The answer isn't in one big organ like your heart or your lungs. No, it's actually spread out all over your body, hidden deep inside your biggest structures.
That's right, it's inside your bones. The spongy tissue in there, the bone marrow, that is the single factory for your entire blood task force. It's home to these amazing master cells, these stem cells, that are basically like blank slates. They can be turned into a red blood cell, any kind of white blood cell, or a platelet, depending on what the body needs.
And the output from this factory, well, it's just insane. Get this, your bone marrow produces about 2 million new red blood cells every single second, just to keep up with the ones that are wearing out. That production rate is just staggering.
And we'll just end with this thought. This unbelievably complex, self-renewing system that transports, defends, and repairs your own body, it also holds the power to do the exact same thing for someone else. The very components we've just talked about are what make blood and plasma donation such a powerful, life-saving gift.